What even is Omega level? So this terminology has been thrown around in the comics since the 80s and had not been really even fully defined. Hence, there are often a lot of debates around this hot button term. Who should be Omega, who shouldn't, and ultimately what Omega level actually stands for. The term has been used to refer to the most powerful mutants of their class or ability type, and has also been used to describe mutants who possess unlimited potential. Mutants who could grow infinitely in terms of power level. Pretty insane to imagine. Through this loose definition of the word, we are going to explore the top 10 mutants who belong on that Omega list. The ones who have demonstrated that they deserve to be there, and some of the ones who I'm surprised have not already been classified as Omega. Is there a mutant who you think definitely deserves the honor but who is unmentioned, or a mutant we mentioned that you disagree with? If so, let us know in the comments below after the video. And just a warning that there are some House of X spoilers below, so if you are not up to date on that comic series, you might want to do some reading first, which really you should just go read it because it's actually really good. Now, let's get counting. Number 10. Moira McTaggart. If you're familiar with Marvel's new House of X saga, you might be familiar with the new spin on Moira McTaggart. While some may argue that her powers do not warrant Omega level, as if she dies before her powers manifest, she will be killed for good, she is the only mutant I have ever known to have reincarnation powers. Her powers effectively allow her to change the Marvel universe, to change the story, and possibly also affect the outcome. Her reincarnation powers also grant her a higher level of intelligence and make her an anomaly in terms of any mutant detectors, which makes her pretty powerful, especially in the mutant versus human wars, which inevitably come about in the X-Men storylines. I would argue that her keeping her memories makes her the strongest mutant of this type so far. Granted, she is also the only one. And I would argue that the potential for her powers has not yet been fully uncovered. Reincarnation is a powerful ability, especially if one can have more sway over how it all comes about, and the time at which you are conceived and born. And who knows, perhaps this could change as Moira continues to develop her abilities. Number 9. Kitty Pryde. You can't hurt what you can't hit. And we don't seem to have anyone with phasing focused abilities yet at Omega level status. So my suggestion for that category is Kitty. Her abilities allow her to phase through solid material, making anything she touches intangible as a choice or making herself intangible. This also makes her almost untouchable in a fight. You might think, well, I bet she is pretty weak to psychic attacks, but due to her phasing, her mind almost appears as unidentifiable to most telepaths, and it's really hard to pin down, giving her a natural resistance to mental attacks. In the alternate Marvel Zombieverse, she was also one of the few superhero survivors, eventually choosing to sacrifice herself to put an end to the infection. Shadowcat isn't just an Omega level mutant in terms of her control over her abilities, she is also just an Omega level person in regards to how many times she actually sacrifices herself for the greater good in the comics. Number 8. Cyclops. I could have easily also included Havoc on this list, to be honest. With the discovery of a third Summer in the 2000s who goes by the codename Vulcan, who is already considered Omega level, it is surprising to me that we have not officially declared Scott Summers as such. You might think his optic blasts are not enough to warrant this status, but I would argue against that. The Phoenix Force, when it was split into the Phoenix 5, chose him, and the Phoenix Force is not known for choosing just anyone. If it chooses you, this means you basically have unlimited potential. It has been described in the comics as being drawn to those with unlimited power, and as a result, Scott became obsessed with it once he was possessed by the Force. I'm also a big believer in the idea that the Phoenix Force helps you unlock that potential and reveals your true self, which means that Scott is kind of low-key obsessed with power all the time, and that Jean Grey wants to do what's best but is also vulnerable to corruption by power. And let's not forget that Cyclops has been infused with the power of the Phoenix not just once, but in fact twice. What? Number 7. Jubilee. While I may lovingly poke fun at Jubilee from time to time due to the way her powers are often portrayed in the comics, in the 90s cartoon, and even sometimes in movies, the fact remains that she has accomplished some amazing feats in the comics, including pretty much obliterating Mandarin's mansion when she thought Logan was dead and her powers just went haywire. In fact, when it comes to our discussion about unlimited power in regards to Omega level, level, Emma Frost once referred to Jubilee as one of the most powerful mutants she had ever met in terms of her potential. Jubilee's abilities have been explained before in the comics as affecting matter on a subatomic level. The explosions she can emit could actually be used in the same way a nuclear fusion bomb could. If that's not Omega, I don't know what is. Number 6. Mystique. The most recognizable shapeshifter in the comic book world, Mystique first appeared in the comics in Ms. Marvel Volume 1 issue 16. Not only is she the most recognizable shapeshifter, one could argue that she is the most powerful and successful shapeshifter in the comics. She can impersonate almost anyone in terms of appearance and voice, has tricked many into thinking she was someone she was not, and her current resurrection has even gone so far as to allow her to shapeshift into animals. Beyond this, she is also one of the oldest mutants. Due to her abilities, aging for her doesn't really seem to be a thing, and she is close to, if not over, 100 years old. Although I'm not sure if we would call it unlimited potential, she has exhibited an evolution over the years in comics. Granted, this appears to be more as a result of storyline and character development than power growth. She has even been seen turning herself 2D and partially liquefying her body. That is some next level body transformation. Number 5. Psylocke. What I find kind of strange is that Psylocke's not as well known brother Jamie Braddock has been elevated to Omega level, and yet Psylocke has not been? Betsy Braddock has 2 siblings actually, her more devious brother Jamie and her twin brother Brian, who is also known as Captain Britain. Although Psylocke was also Captain Britain for a while. Let's compare Betsy and Jamie when it comes to their abilities. Betsy is a powerful telepath who also possesses strong telekinetic abilities, while Jamie is your average Marvel reality manipulator / magic user. While he has pulled off some impressive feats, Psylocke tends to be the star of the show when it comes to putting in the work and heroic acts. Jamie is typically presented as the villain of most stories. Psylocke's abilities have always sort of been in a weird state of flux, and while she has been portrayed as insanely powerful when it comes to her telepathic abilities, and then later when she lost those, her telekinetic abilities, it seems that since retrieving her telepathic abilities and her telekinetic abilities, she has become somewhat depowered. I guess she had to split her power level between both abilities? Although she has not been confirmed as being an Omega level mutant, she has been teased as being a character that could be granted such a status. In 2010, Marvel's Uncanny X-Men writer Rick Remender referred to her abilities as being at a burgeoning Omega level. Come on Marvel, stop teasing and let's see Psylocke join the Omega level ranks. Number 4. Quicksilver. While I recognize that the Maximoff twins have gone back and forth in terms of whether or not they are considered mutants due to so many retcons involving their backstory, I really like them both as mutants. And beyond that, Quicksilver first appeared in the X-Men comic series, so I'm deciding to talk about him as a mutant. I don't know why there seems to be such a huge divide in the comics right now between X-Men and Avengers actually. You can do both. It's like Marvel is trying to set up the comics and possibly MCU for another X-Men vs Avengers event. I just want everyone to get along. I was actually super surprised when I could not find or think of anything that referred to Pietro as being Omega level. He is after all the fastest person in the Marvel universe. Although he has definitely done some dastardly things, he also proved that he is one of the most powerful when it comes to anything that needs to be done fast. While X-Men Apocalypse was not critically acclaimed and currently sits at 47% on Rotten Tomatoes in regards to its ratings, it also helped to prove just how powerful Quicksilver is when it gave us this scene of him saving all of Professor X's teachers and students when the Academy blew up, including the Goldfish. Also, Evan Peters' Quicksilver is just life. Beyond that, he also saved the entire world from the Grandmaster and Challenger during the events of the No Surrender storyline. Number 3. Charles Xavier. Speaking of Professor X, where is he on the Omega level list? I was actually triggered when I couldn't find him listed as Omega level anywhere, and I'm not the type to ever get triggered, but this just blew my mind. Jean Grey is Omega level and is of course more powerful than Charles, so I understand that the reasoning behind this may be that he is surpassed by Jean and therefore does not qualify. However, while both are telepaths, they are sort of different types of telepaths. And honestly, if Emma Frost gets to be Omega level, then so should Charles in my mind. Where Charles and Jean differ though, is Jean's powers are unlimited, but Charles exhibits an intense level of control over his powers. I know this isn't really what Omega is about, but the level at which Charles can manipulate people has also always made me suspicious that there is more to him than a telepath, and that he could potentially later be revealed to be a really strong empath. Him being an empath would actually probably make him the strongest mutant empath out there. Regardless of my suspicions, he is the father of Legion, who has been granted Omega level status, and I feel like David coming in part from him is proof that he has more potential than we've been led to believe. Number 2. Scarlet Witch. I know, both Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver have been retconned as genetically altered humans, but she was originally a mutant, and before the Avengers and X-Men divide got so weird and intense, she kinda used to do both. Before her powers got so ingrained in magic, Scarlet Witch had mutant reality warping powers that were simply intensified by her magical bonds. Ignoring her mutant history is like imagining House of M never happened, and that comic event is too good to just let it disappear from your mind. Scarlet Witch was known as Magneto's daughter, and in my heart, she definitely still is. When it comes to reality altering powers, almost no one in the comics has been shown to be on Scarlet Witch's level. She can create armies out of thin air, she made all mutants disappear, and before that she actually created an artificial paradise world where everyone lived happily until their memories started to resurface and kinda made them question things. She even banished the Phoenix Force from existence. Whether or not her powers will ever return to being classified as mutant powers, she is definitely an Omega level character currently, and should have been classified as an Omega level mutant back when she was one. Number 1. Rogue. Having the ability to have almost any ability should make you Omega in and of itself. That is to say, Rogue has one of the most useful mutant abilities out there. She can steal others' powers and in doing so also weaken them, and all she needs to do is touch someone. Granted, Rogue has been on a long journey in the comics when it comes to trying to control her powers. During the X-Men Legacy series, Rogue was shown to have gained full control over her powers, sharing a kiss with her love Gambit. Aww. However, her control sometimes appears to falter depending on the storyline you're reading. Regardless, she's definitely the most powerful mutant when it comes to absorbing someone else's abilities, life force, and memories, rivaling even Legion's prowess, especially since she can manifest multiple powers at the same time. Thanks so much for watching, fellow nerds. I hope you enjoyed this list. Who do you most want to see join the ranks of Omega level mutant? Who's your favorite mutant? Let us know in the comments below. And who do you think my favorite mutant could be? Could it be Rogue? I'm definitely super excited though to see what other lesser known mutants both the House of X and Powers of X series are going to bring back and flush out. I might find a new favorite there. They are just doing a killer job so far. While you are on your way down to the comments, be sure to click that thumbs up and tap that subscribe if you love mutant kind as much as I do. And remember to ring our bell so you never miss another nerdy list. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight, reminding you to stay nerdy, YouTube.